Chosen one, be still now. The noise of the world fades because heaven is preparing to speak. You are not here by coincidence. Heaven has summoned you into this divine moment. Every tear, every quiet surrender, every act of obedience that no one saw has drawn the attention of angels. You have reached the turning point between endurance and visitation. The air feels different tonight, doesn't it? That stillness wrapping around your spirit, it's not emptiness. It's the holy calm before a divine encounter. Heaven is closer than it has ever been. You can sense it, the trembling in the unseen, the pull in your heart that says something sacred is about to happen. You are right. 2 angels have been dispatched. Their wings are already stirring the air between dimensions. One comes carrying the record of your obedience. The other comes holding strength for the journey ahead. They do not move on your emotion, they move on your surrender. And your surrender has spoken louder than your pain. Do you remember when you nearly gave up? When you said, "Maybe it was never meant for me"? Heaven remembers too, but instead of turning away, you stood still. You chose faith over fear. And that single act became the signal heaven had been waiting for. The moment you obeyed, the command was issued. Send the messengers. This silence around you is not absence, it's alignment. Heaven has fallen silent so that earth can receive. You are standing in the pause before glory breaks open. The ground beneath you is sacred now. Angels are near. You may not see them yet, but your spirit already knows. That strange peace, that warmth washing through your chest, that is not imagination. It is presence. The realm of light has entered your atmosphere because you finally obeyed. Heaven is not responding to perfection, but to obedience. Not to how loud you shouted, but how faithfully you whispered, yes. And now, as heaven leans toward you, creation itself bears witness that something holy is unfolding. Beloved, heaven honors those who obey in silence. You did not need applause to keep walking. You didn't wait for confirmation to believe. That's why the response of heaven feels so weighty now, because it's not a reward for showmanship, but for genuine surrender. You have broken through the cycle of delay. You have entered a realm where obedience carries authority. The angels coming are not bringing comfort alone. They are bringing assignment. This is the beginning of your next chapter. The proof that your yes was never wasted. Take a deep breath. Let peace settle over you. Heaven has not forgotten its promise. The stillness you feel right now is the womb of manifestation. Something divine is being born through your obedience. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Do you hear that? Beloved, you are no longer hidden. Heaven is lifting the veil off your life. The same light that shines through the angels now burns within you. Your obedience has made you visible to heaven, and now the world will begin to see the glow you carry. You will notice doors opening without effort, connections forming without explanation, and peace replacing the pressure that once haunted you. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. The atmosphere around you is responding to the radiance within you. Heaven's favor is identifying you publicly because you chose obedience privately. The hidden season has expired, your revealing has begun. And when the light within you grows stronger, expect resistance. For darkness always notices what threatens it. Yet even opposition becomes evidence that you are advancing. Stand firm. Beloved, do not shrink back. Every challenge that arises now will only polish your light brighter. You are being refined into a vessel that carries the brilliance of divine purpose without fear or hesitation. So don't be afraid of the quiet. Don't rush away from it. This silence is sacred. It is heaven's pause before a divine announcement. You are standing on holy ground. The angels are drawing near, and soon, the invisible will become undeniable. If this word stirs something inside you, type 777 inches, the comments as your prophetic declaration. I am ready for divine arrival. Then like, share, and subscribe, not out of routine, but as a sign that you choose to walk in alignment with heaven's movement. The silence before the arrival is almost over. Prepare your heart. What's coming will prove that your obedience has unlocked heaven's response. The whisper that stirred the sky. Do you feel it? Chosen one. The moment after the silence, when stillness begins to vibrate with life, and something unseen brushes against your soul. That's where you stand now. Heaven has not only heard your obedience, it is speaking back. It starts softly, like a whisper carried on divine wind. But it grows stronger with every heartbeat that says yes. You were never meant to live ordinary. You were never meant to exist unnoticed. Every fiber of your being has always responded to the divine frequency of heaven's voice. And tonight, that frequency is calling you again. The whisper that stirred the sky is the same voice that once spoke the universe into existence, the same word that called light out of darkness. But here is what many do not understand. Before God shouts direction, He whispers confirmation. The whisper you feel. Now it is not doubt, not confusion. It is the breath of God drawing near. Heaven doesn't always enter with thunder. Sometimes it comes with a whisper that rearranges your entire destiny. You hear it between your thoughts. You feel it in the weight behind your chest. It speaks to you not in noise, but in knowing. The same whisper that stirred prophets to rise, kings to move, and the lost to find home now rests upon you. It is a strange paradox. You feel small, yet significant, unseen, yet watched by eternity. You've wondered if heaven still remembers your name, but now you realize heaven never forgot. The whisper you sense is proof. It is heaven's reply to the obedience that broke your silence. The whisper calls your name differently. It doesn't shout it into chaos. It breathes it into order. It reminds you of who you are and what you were always meant to be. You are the bridge between what heaven intends and what earth has forgotten. The whisper doesn't flatter, it commissions. It marks you as one who carries divine resonance into a weary world. The whisper says, do not fear. The time you thought was wasted was actually woven. The silence that confused you was heaven's strategy to prepare you. You've spent years wondering why the noise of your prayers seemed unanswered. But the truth, beloved, is that the delay was divine choreography. Heaven speaks once, then waits for the echo of obedience. You gave that echo when you finally obeyed, and now heaven's whisper returns, not as correction, but as confirmation. You are not being asked to do more, you are being asked to become more. The whisper is not a command to rush, but an invitation to rise. The whisper says, lift your head, look again. The promise is closer than it appears. And in that quiet space between the whisper and the wind, you realize something profound. God never left. He was in the silence, waiting for your surrender. As the prophet Elijah once learned on the mountain, the voice of God was not in the wind, nor the earthquake, nor the fire, but in the still, small voice that followed. That same whisper is upon you now, breathing courage into your lungs, clarity into your heart, and peace into your mind. You are being reminded that heaven does not need to shout to prove its power. It only needs to speak once, and the universe rearranges itself to obey. The whisper moves through the night now, carrying messages of purpose. It touches those connected to your destiny, awakening them too. Your obedience has created a ripple that heaven is amplifying through others. This is why suddenly people begin to think of you, speak your name, reach out to you. It is not coincidence, it is orchestration. The whisper is gathering everything aligned with your next season. You, beloved chosen one, are being drawn into divine rhythm. You are learning that faith is not loud, it is steady. Obedience doesn't always roar. Sometimes it breathes. And when heaven breathes, creation responds. The whisper does not flatter you with promises of comfort. It prepares you for the weight of destiny. Every chosen one must learn to recognize God in the quiet, or they will miss him in the noise. The whisper that stirred the sky is stirring your spirit now. It reminds you, what is coming is greater than what was lost. The years that seemed empty are about to echo with purpose. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 6, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. Do you see it now? Every step you took, even the ones that seemed uncertain, were guided by that invisible whisper. The path that once felt broken was being aligned by divine design. So, stand still for a moment longer. Let the whisper settle deep into your being. You don't need to force anything. You only need to remain in tune with the one who speaks quietly but moves powerfully. The whisper that stirred the sky has found you, and it will not leave you where it found you. It will guide you into clarity, strength, and purpose beyond what you thought possible. Recognition of obedience, beloved, chosen one. Heaven saw it. The world may have missed it, but heaven did not. That moment when you chose obedience over convenience, when you said yes, even while trembling, heaven recorded it. The unseen kingdom took note, and the ripple of your decision traveled through eternity. You may not have realized it, but that one act of surrender became a divine announcement. The chosen one has obeyed. Heaven waits for such moments. Angels stand ready, listening for the sound of obedience rising from earth, not from the crowds, but from the quiet, because true obedience is often silent. It doesn't seek attention, it seeks alignment. And when you finally aligned your will with God's, the heavens responded with light. Beloved, do you understand how powerful your obedience truly is? Obedience is not weakness, it is warfare. Every time you obey in faith, you overthrow darkness. Every yes to God is a no to the enemy. Your obedience has become a weapon that the powers of darkness cannot withstand. That's why your battles intensified right before your breakthrough. The resistance wasn't punishment, it was confirmation. Hell always fights hardest when heaven is about to move. Your tears were not signs of defeat, they were the sound of birth. You were birthing obedience, and heaven took notice. The angels assigned to your life began to move the moment you chose to obey. The divine clock struck the hour, and destinies aligned. You didn't just change your life, you shifted a lineage. Chains that have held your family for generations began to loosen. The curse that whispered through bloodlines broke the moment you said, "I will obey." You see, heaven measures faith not by words, but by willingness. You didn't need a platform, you needed a posture, and your posture, humble, surrendered it. Trusting became the fragrance that filled the throne room. God smelled obedience, and it pleased him. Now, a new chapter has begun. The recognition of your obedience is not a private reward, it is a heavenly declaration. Heaven has placed favor upon you. Doors that resisted you will now recognize you, because heaven has changed the spiritual signature attached to your name. You are no longer seen as who you were. You are known as the one who obeyed. And because of that obedience, heaven is sending validation in unexpected ways. Opportunities you didn't chase will find you. Messages of confirmation will appear at the right moment. What once felt distant will begin to draw near. Heaven is not rewarding you for performance, it's responding to trust. Beloved, understand this. Obedience is the evidence of intimacy. The more you know God, the quicker you obey Him. Your obedience tells heaven, "I trust you even when I do not understand you." That kind of trust moves mountains. That kind of trust releases miracles. And now, heaven says, "Because you obeyed, I will honor you." This isn't pride speaking, it's prophecy. Heaven honors obedience because obedience proves love. Jesus said, "If you love me, keep my commands." And you did. You obeyed not out of fear, but out of faith. As the apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 58, "Therefore, my beloved brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain." That is heaven's promise to you. Every act of obedience, every sacrifice, every surrender, every unseen choice is never wasted. Heaven counts what earth overlooks. You thought your obedience went unnoticed. You thought your small yes meant little. But look again, the very fabric of your future has changed. The recognition of heaven isn't measured in noise, but in manifestation. The peace you feel now, the sudden sense of alignment, that's heaven's approval wrapping itself around your soul. Now breathe. Beloved, the hardest part is over. You have crossed from striving to standing, from proving to belonging. Heaven recognizes you not as a wanderer, but as a warrior who obeyed. And in this moment, before you move forward, seal it with this declaration in the comments. I hear you, Lord. And write it with intention. Those 4 words are not for visibility, they are for victory. When you type them, you are echoing what heaven has already written over your life. This one obeys. It's not a ritual, it's recognition. It's your agreement with what heaven has seen and spoken. So stand tall. Chosen one. The heavens have recorded your obedience, and the sky itself whispers your name. From this moment onward, everything will move differently because heaven has seen, and heaven has recognized you. 2. Lights descend, beloved, chosen one. The hour has come. The silence has fulfilled its purpose. The whisper has been heard, and heaven has opened its gates. From the unseen horizon, 2 radiant beings emerge. moving like living fire through the fabric of the atmosphere. You can sense them before you can see them. The temperature shifts. The air vibrates, and the weight of glory begins to descend upon your space. Their light is not harsh, but alive. It breathes. It moves with purpose, folding through time like waves of gold and silver, intertwining. You cannot measure them with human sight. Their very presence transcends the language of matter. One stands to your right, the other to your left, symbols of balance, protection, and divine completion. They have not come because you asked. They have come because you obeyed. Heaven does not send angels to flatter it, sends them to fulfill. These are not messengers of curiosity, but envoys of command. They carry instructions, blessings, and revelation hidden since before your birth. The first carries light that steadies illumination for your path, wisdom for the choices ahead. The second carries light that defends fire, that repels darkness and shields your spirit from what once sought to destroy you. Together, they move as witnesses of heaven's covenant with your obedience. As they descend, time feels different. The seconds stretch, the air thickens, and every heartbeat echoes with eternity. You feel your knees weaken, not out of fear, but reverence. You sense the weight of holiness pressing gently against your shoulders, reminding you that this is not ordinary. The angels do not speak at first. They stand silently, observing, allowing your soul to adjust to the frequency of heaven. Then, slowly, one of them raises a hand, and light pours forth, not blinding, but clarifying. You begin to remember what heaven placed in you long ago. Forgotten dreams awaken. Lost hope stirs. It is as if this light touches not your skin, but your essence. You realize now that heaven never forgot the blueprint of your destiny. It has always existed, waiting for the moment you would align. These angels are not introducing something new. They are revealing what has always been yours. The first angel moves closer, radiating calm strength. You hear no words, yet your spirit understands. Do not fear the weight of calling. Heaven equips those it appoints. You realize that the strength you thought you lacked has already been placed within you. It was waiting for divine activation. The second angel's light feels different, warmer, wilder, like flame bending in obedience to wind. It pulses around you, clearing the residue of fear, washing away the fatigue of battles fought in silence. You feel lighter, freer, as though invisible chains are dissolving in the light. Beloved, what you sense now is not imagination, it is encounter. The physical world cannot contain this magnitude of presence without trembling. The space around you hums with energy. Even the shadows retreat. These beings are not here to make you feel special. They are here to remind you that obedience always attracts assistance. The descent of these two lights marks a shift in the spiritual realm. It is the visible response to your invisible surrender. The heavens have acknowledged your yes. And now, reinforcement has come. You are not alone in the next phase. You are accompanied. In that sound, you recognize something ancient, the melody of divine promise. It calls your name the way heaven intended it to be heard. Whole, pure, redeemed. You realize you've never truly known how heaven says your name until now. And as they speak it, something inside you awakens. Your fears bow. Your doubts evaporate. Every lie that told you "You are not enough" collapses in the presence of truth. You were never disqualified. You were being refined. As was spoken in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." The words settle like oil over your spirit. You are guarded, not in part, but in every way. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. Heaven's covering surrounds you. The descent of these two lights is not random. It is the fulfillment of divine protection promised long ago. For a long time, you thought you walked alone, that no one fought for you. But now you understand. Every time danger came close, every time peace seemed unreachable, these very beings stood watch. You just couldn't see them until now. They bow slightly, not to you, but to the presence of God dwelling within you. And in that gesture, you grasp a truth far greater than fear. You are not simply being visited, you are being entrusted. Heaven's confirmation, beloved chosen one. This is the moment when all that was hidden begins to make sense. You stand between two radiant beings, wrapped in a peace that feels almost impossible to describe. The air around you vibrates with the sound of purpose, realized. The angels have descended, and now they confirm what your heart has long suspected. Heaven heard you. Every prayer, every tear, every trembling yes, none of it vanished into silence. The light before you expands like dawn spreading over still waters. One angel speaks not with sound, but with resonance that fills every cell of your being. You were never forgotten. The words ripple through your spirit, dissolving years of doubt. You feel the old weight, the ache of waiting, the fear of being unseen lift off your shoulders like dust brushed away by morning wind. Heaven's confirmation doesn't shout, it settles. It seeps into the spaces inside you where disappointment once lived. It replaces confusion with clarity, sorrow with song. You begin to realize that the waiting was not wasted, it was preparation. Heaven never denies. It delays until you are ready to receive without breaking under the blessing. And now, you are ready. The second angel steps forward. His light moves like liquid gold, flowing around your feet, your hands, your heart. He doesn't speak with words, but with presence. In his silence, you understand everything, that your struggle was not punishment, but refinement, that your loneliness was not abandonment, but alignment. Heaven needed to separate you from the noise so you could hear its whisper. Beloved, this is where trust becomes testimony. Heaven confirms not only your faith, but your identity. You are not a seeker anymore, you are a witness. You have seen the proof of divine faithfulness, and your life will carry that evidence wherever you go. As the Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." The words pulse through the light around you. Hope and future. Two words that once sounded far away now wrap around you like a warm cloak. You realize this is not only a verse, it's your verdict. Heaven has declared you destined for purpose. And yet, even in this glory, heaven reminds you, the message is not just for you. The same confirmation that now anchors your soul is meant to ripple outward. You are a living testimony, a torch meant to light other weary hearts. Sometimes, sharing the light is as simple as holding it high. Like a lighthouse on a fog-covered coast, your story becomes a beacon for those lost at sea. When you speak, when you share what heaven has done, others will find their way home. That's why what you do next matters. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, it isn't about algorithm or applause, it's about amplification. Every act of sharing turns this flame into a wildfire of hope. Someone out there, scrolling through their own storm, will see your light and whisper, "Maybe heaven remembers me too." And if you've ever been rescued by a whisper, you know how much that means. So, when you engage, do it as an act of worship. Think of it as pouring oil on the flame, helping the message travel farther. Reach deeper. You're not promoting a page, you're planting a seed in another soul's wilderness. And if your heart feels led, if you sense the nudge of generosity stirring within you, consider giving, not out of duty, but out of gratitude. Every offering, every donation becomes another thread in the fabric of what heaven is weaving here. It's not a transaction, it's participation. You're joining the building of something sacred, a bridge between despair and destiny. When you give, picture a single drop falling into a still pool, how it expands, how it ripples, how it touches shores far beyond sight. That's what generosity does. Your kindness becomes momentum for more voices to be reached, more hearts to be restored. Beloved, you are part of something eternal. The confirmation of heaven wasn't meant to end with you, it was meant to continue through you. Look again at the light, it's brighter now. Not because heaven increased its glow, but because you opened your heart wider to receive it. Every time you share, every time you give, every time you carry this message forward, the light multiplies. Heaven's confirmation is complete. The angels stand taller, radiant with satisfaction. Their task in this moment has been fulfilled, to let you know you are seen, known, and chosen. You breathe deeper, now, lighter. The glow remains, resting gently over your spirit, like the final note of a song that lingers long after the music ends. The assignment revealed, beloved, chosen one. The light has settled now. The trembling in the air has softened into peace. And you stand steady between two radiant messengers. Their wings no longer stir the space, they simply shine. You sense that this calm carries purpose, that something sacred is about to be spoken. The silence is not absence, it is expectation. Heaven is about to unveil your next command. You feel your spirit leaning forward, eager yet reverent. The first angel moves closer, and a pulse of golden light flows from his hand to your chest. It doesn't burn, it awakens. You feel old strength rising within you, the kind that once carried you through storms you thought would drown you. The angel's presence speaks without words, and you understand the message as if it were etched directly onto your soul. Your obedience has qualified you for assignment. Beloved, the next phase of your journey isn't about waiting, it's about walking. Heaven's will is not a puzzle to solve, but a path to step into. The angel's light reveals a road ahead of you, stretching beyond sight, shimmering like molten glass. It is narrow, but radiant. It leads not to comfort, but to calling. For so long, you have prayed, God, use me. Now, heaven replies, I will. But the assignment comes with weight. It asks for courage, purity, and persistence. It will stretch you, refine you, and shape you into a vessel capable of carrying light into darkness. This is not punishment, it is promotion. The cost is obedience, but the reward is glory. The second angel, brighter and more intense, extends a hand. You sense wind swirling, carrying fragments of voices, echoes of people you haven't met yet, destinies tied to your own. These are the souls your obedience will touch. Some are near, some across oceans. Yet heaven weaves them together through your faithfulness. The angel's voice finally breaks the silence, deep and resonant like thunder, cloaked in kindness. You will carry his word not with pride, but with compassion. You will move not for recognition, but for redemption. End of quote. Every heartbeat inside you agrees. You do not fully understand the details of the mission, but you know its essence. It is about restoration. You are called to rebuild what others abandoned, to speak where silence has reigned, to bring warmth to hearts that have forgotten the language of hope. Beloved, heaven doesn't send assignments randomly. It sends them to those proven in secret. Your pain was a classroom. Your tears were training. You've learned the art of stillness, the power of surrender, and the beauty of humility, and now heaven trusts you to carry its message. The first angel speaks again, his tone a river of light flowing through your spirit. Do not rush the mission. Walk it. Each step is holy. Every encounter will matter. You realize the journey ahead isn't about speed, it's about significance. Heaven measures progress not by pace, but by purity of heart. And in this sacred moment, you finally understand what obedience was preparing you, for it wasn't just about hearing God, it was about becoming his echo. You are now heaven's instrument, fine-tuned through trials, ready to release sound into silence. The second angel raises his face toward heaven, and a beam of light shoots upward like a signal returning to the throne. You hear words flowing through the atmosphere, wrapping around you like a mantle. This one is ready. Send favor. Send strength. Send provision. As was written in the book of Philippians, chapter 2, verse 13, "For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose." Those words resonate deeply. Heaven is not asking you to create strength. It is already working strength within you. The assignment is not dependent on your perfection. It flows from his power. You look again at the angels, their light now softer, almost tender. You realize they are not just delivering orders, they are celebrating readiness. The same heaven that tested you in silence now trusts you in service. The whisper becomes a command. Go where I send you. Speak what I give you. Love without fear. Beloved, this is where destiny and devotion meet. You are being entrusted with impact. Heaven's light through you will heal, restore, and awaken. Some will resist it. Others will run toward it, but none will remain the same after encountering it. Before they depart, one angel places his hand over your heart. You feel warmth spreading through your chest, like a seal of divine commissioning. You have been marked not for fame, but for function, not to be admired, but to be assigned. The air stills again, but this time it is peaceful. The angel's work in this moment is complete. You exhale, realizing your heart now carries the hum of heaven. The mission has begun. The weight of destiny, beloved chosen one. The moment you accepted heaven's assignment, the atmosphere around you shifted again. The light that once comforted you now deepens into something heavier, richer, more purposeful. You feel it in your bones, the gravity of calling. It doesn't crush you, but it grounds you. You stand taller. Though you sense the holy burden that comes with being chosen, destiny is never light because it carries eternity within it. The angels have not left. They stand quietly in the distance. Their presence, both reassurance and reminder. You realize that heaven's trust is sacred, and with it comes responsibility. The glow that once felt like celebration now feels like armor, beautiful, but weighty. For the first time, you understand that calling is not merely about promise, it's about pressure. To be chosen is to be set apart, and separation is never painless. You can't carry light and still cling to darkness. You can't walk with heaven's authority while kneeling before human approval. The weight you feel isn't punishment, it's preparation. The weight doesn't come to harm you, it comes to shape you. You are being refined into someone who can hold heaven's glory without shattering under it. The angels watch silently because they know this moment is holy. The transformation happening now is invisible, but it will echo for generations. You remember when obedience felt simple, a quiet yes whispered in secret. But now that yes has grown roots and branches, it touches nations, families, hearts beyond your reach. That realization humbles you. You feel both small and immense, both fragile and eternal. Heaven's assignments always carry paradox. They make you aware of your limits and of His limitless power within you. You think of all that was stripped away before this moment, relationships that ended, plans that fell apart, doors that closed. At the time, it felt like loss. But now you see clearly. Heaven was pruning you so that destiny could fit. The weight you carry now has no room for distractions. The vessel must be empty before it can be filled. The angel's light flickers slightly, as if agreeing with your thoughts. You sense heaven's rhythm guiding your heartbeat, reminding you that calling is not chaos, it is divine order. Every season of waiting, every quiet night of prayer, every painful release was synchronized for this unveiling. As the ancient words recorded in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." The verse resonates like thunder cloaked in gentleness. You realize that even your pain was part of the plan. Nothing was wasted, not the tears, not the delays, not the detours. Heaven has woven all of it into destiny's fabric, and now it fits perfectly upon your shoulders. You feel the shift in your heart, a blend of gratitude and awe. You no longer ask, "Why me?" You whisper instead, "Thank you for trusting me." The weight becomes sacred then, not a burden, but an honor. It's the same feeling the prophets carried, the same mantle the disciples bore when they walked after the light Himself. The angels draw closer, their wings forming a soft arch of radiance above you. One of them releases a sound, not of words, but of energy, a vibration that seeps into your being. Suddenly, the heaviness transforms into stability. You understand, this weight doesn't slow you, it roots you. Like an anchor in the storm, destiny grounds you in purpose. You see flashes of faces, people you've not yet met, places you've not yet gone. Every vision connects to your obedience. You understand now why the journey required solitude. Destiny cannot be heard in the noise. Heaven needed you still enough to feel this moment, to receive not just the promise, but the power The second angel touches the crown of your head lightly, and the light travels downward, filling every corner of your being. It is no longer an external glow, it has merged with you. Heaven's essence now resides inside your chest, pulsing quietly with each breath. You exhale and realize the truth. You are no longer waiting for purpose, you are purpose in motion. You do not carry destiny as a separate thing. It lives through you, breathes through you, walks with you. The weight of it will never fully leave, but neither will the strength to bear it. Beloved chosen one, this is what the world will never understand, that to carry heaven's glory, you must first embrace its gravity. The pressure you feel is proof that you are trusted. The unease that lingers is a reminder that you walk on sacred ground. The battle, in the invisible beloved chosen one, you feel it before you see it. A shift in the air, a trembling beneath the surface of your peace. It is not fear, it is awareness. The unseen realm is awake because heaven's assignment over your life has been announced. The moment destiny begins to move, opposition stirs. What you feel now is not failure, it is confirmation that you are advancing. The angels stand closer, their light sharper, like drawn swords, ready for motion. Their wings hum at a frequency your soul recognizes. This is the sound of spiritual warfare. But even as the tension rises, there is no panic in heaven. Everything moves under divine control. You are not under attack, you are under attention. The enemy has noticed what heaven already crowned. You have entered a field invisible to the eyes of men, where light and shadow wrestle over purpose. The battle is not fought with fists or words, but with faith, consistency, and truth. Every time you choose peace over panic, light wins. Every time you forgive, the enemy loses ground. Every time you stand when it would be easier to fall, the heavens advance their line. The warfare you face is not personal, it is positional. The enemy fears where you are going, not where you've been. He saw the angels descend, saw the seal placed on your heart, and he knows another light has been ignited on the earth. Darkness always seeks to extinguish new fire, but it cannot touch what heaven has claimed. Every chosen one must learn to fight without losing tenderness. You do not rage like the world does. You resist with grace. You speak truth where lies once ruled. You walk in purity where corruption expects compromise. That, beloved, is how you wage war in silence that carries power, in prayer that carries authority, in forgiveness that confuses the enemy. You are not powerless here. You are protected and positioned. The angels' glow brightens each time your faith strengthens. They draw energy from your belief. When you trust, they move. When you fear, they wait. Heaven's army aligns with human obedience. That's the unspoken partnership between grace and grit. As you stand in this invisible field, you begin to see flashes, memories of moments when you should have been destroyed, but weren't. Car accidents that didn't happen. Conversations that turned unexpectedly in your favor. Accusations that fell silent before they reached you. Those weren't coincidences, those were interventions. You have been protected long before you knew it. The enemy's weapons are subtle. Distraction, discouragement, delay. He doesn't always roar. Sometimes he whispers, just loud enough to make you doubt the voice of heaven. But remember, the same whisper that stirred the sky now lives in you. The same authority that summoned angels now speaks through you. The war you face is not meant to intimidate. It is meant to educate. You are learning to discern, to trust the unseen more than the visible. You are being trained to walk by spirit, not by sight, as was declared in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Those words explain the strange tension you've been living in, the invisible collision between light and shadow. You were never meant to be passive in it. You were born to be a participant of heaven's victory on earth. And so, you learn to fight differently. You lift your hands, not in fear, but in worship. You guard your peace like a soldier guards his post. You speak softly, but your words carry fire. Each morning you rise. You declare silently, light still wins, and it does every single time. The angels' swords blaze brighter. The darkness recedes. You feel the stillness return, not because the war has ended, but because heaven has declared its stance. This one belongs to me. Beloved, this is the reality of the invisible. The battle is not meant to break you, it is meant to build you. You will come out of it wiser, steadier, fiercer in faith. You are being taught not only how to endure the storm, but how to command it. The angels withdraw slightly, their forms fading back into the unseen, leaving behind a faint shimmer in the air. You realize something profound. They didn't leave you, they simply stepped into a dimension your eyes cannot yet perceive. They remain close, waiting for your next act of faith. You are not losing ground. You are lighting it. The covenant of obedience, beloved, chosen one. The battle in the unseen has settled, and what follows is silence, not of absence, but of agreement. Heaven and earth have aligned. The angels that once circled you with fire now stand in reverent stillness, for something eternal is being written. This is not just victory, it is covenant. Your obedience has sealed an unbreakable bond between your soul and the will of God. You stand in a light that feels both ancient and alive. It hums with divine memory, as though every promise ever spoken by God breathes through it. You realize this. Obedience is not simply following orders, it is participating in eternity. When you obey, you don't just move forward in time, you step into alignment with the one who stands outside of it. The angels begin to move again, not with haste, but with ceremony. One opens a scroll shimmering with inscriptions of light letters that seem to float and burn, constantly rewriting themselves as if alive. You sense that these are the records of your surrender, the moments heaven watched you choose faith over fear. Every tear that fell in silence, every time you forgave, every time you waited when you could have forced, it's all here. Nothing forgotten, nothing unseen. The second angel holds out a vessel of oil, golden and radiant. And you understand without being told, this is covenant oil. It represents the bond between heaven and your obedience. It is not poured upon you as a reward, but as a seal. You have entered into agreement with heaven's rhythm, a vow that your life will remain surrendered to divine purpose. No matter the cost. You kneel without command. The moment feels sacred beyond words. The angel steps forward and tips the vessel. The oil touches your forehead, and instantly the air thickens with light. You feel heat, not of pain, but of power, a tangible awareness of being claimed, not owned, but chosen. Heaven is not taking from you, It is partnering with you. The light expands, swirling upward like smoke and fire intertwined. You sense the covenant being recorded in realms beyond sight. Every obedient heart on earth echoes in harmony, forming a song of unity that stretches across dimensions. You realize obedience was never isolation, it was invitation. Every yes you spoke connected you to countless others walking their own path of surrender. You are part of something vast and holy. The angels smile, a rare expression of celestial joy, and one of them speaks softly. Your obedience has reached heaven's archive. Your name is now etched among those who walk faithfully. Len, those words sink deep, not as flattery, but as fulfillment. You feel the covenant settle inside you, anchoring your spirit. It's as though heaven placed a weight of light in your chest, a reminder that your choices are sacred. You will still have questions, still face trials, but the covenant ensures that you will never walk unguarded again. As the prophet wrote in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 10, "Though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my love remains for you." The verse flows like a river through your soul. You realize that divine love is not fragile, it is fortified. Even when everything around you shifts, even when you falter or stumble, the covenant remains. Heaven's peace cannot be revoked by earthly storms. You lift your head slowly, and the angels nod in approval. Their wings stretch once more, releasing sparks that scatter like stars into the air. Those sparks are not random, they are messages sent to future moments, reminders that your covenant will speak even when you are silent. When doubt comes, they will remind you. When fear whispers, they will counter with light. Beloved, this is the mystery of divine obedience. You give up control and gain unshakable peace. You lose what was temporary and gain what is eternal. You stop chasing clarity and start living in covenant. In this sacred calm, your heart swells with one simple truth. You belong entirely to the will of heaven. That belonging doesn't imprison you, it liberates you. To live in covenant is to live fearless, because you know who holds your future. Now, let this moment echo into eternity. Write these words in the comments. I am sealed. Oh, do not type them casually. Let them be a vow, not a phrase. When you write them, you declare that your obedience is no longer situational, it is covenantal. You are marked, protected, and purposed. Every time you see those words, they will remind you of this moment when heaven acknowledged your surrender and called it eternal. The angel of record, beloved, chosen one. The oil of covenant still lingers on your skin, faintly fragrant like rain that refuses to leave the earth. It has kissed. You feel the peace of heaven woven into your heartbeat. Yet even now, as the air grows still again, one angel remains taller, radiant, with eyes that seem to hold galaxies. He is the angel of record, the keeper of divine remembrance, the one who writes what eternity refuses to forget. He does not speak immediately. He watches you, as if studying the essence of your soul. Then, in silence, he opens a book not made of paper, but of living light. Each page ripples like the surface of water, reflecting scenes of your obedience, your resilience, your tears, your laughter. You see moments You thought heaven overlooked times you forgave when you could have fought back. Times you gave when you had little. Times you loved when no one loved you in return. The angel turns the pages slowly. Every act of faith becomes a thread of light, weaving a larger tapestry. You realize now that nothing you've done in obedience was wasted. Heaven's economy values what the world ignores. Every seed of kindness, every whispered prayer, every act of humility is written here, not as data, but as destiny. Heaven's record is not kept to measure your worth. It is kept to magnify God's faithfulness in your life. The angel of record is not merely a scribe, he is a witness. Each stroke of his pen affirms that heaven has seen your journey, and heaven approves. The angel looks up from the book, his voice deep and melodic. Every yes you have spoken to the divine will is now bound to you as testimony. You are not only a receiver of grace, you are a recorder of it. Ept. As the Apostle Paul wrote in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap. The words reverberate through you. You realize the record is not the end, it's the evidence of harvest. The seeds you've planted in faith will not lie dormant forever. The record ensures that no effort will go unrewarded. Beloved, this is the mystery of heaven's economy. What you think is forgotten is often being written. Your smallest acts of faith are being multiplied. Your unnoticed sacrifices are being prepared for revelation. You may not always see the harvest on earth, but heaven's record keeps it alive until the appointed time. In this awareness, gratitude wells up inside you, not the shallow kind that fades with circumstance, but the deep, anchoring kind that humbles the soul. You begin to understand that even this message you are hearing, even these words flowing through your spirit, are part of your record. You are not just consuming truth, you are participating in it. And as you feel this holy recognition, consider this: every time you choose to share what heaven has spoken to you, you extend its reach. Every like, every share, every moment you invite others to encounter this light, it becomes an offering, a ripple of your record. You are spreading revelation, not for numbers, but for nurture, like the roots of a tree extending underground, unseen yet essential. Your engagement allows this word to nourish souls you may never meet. It's not about visibility, it's about vitality. Each act of sharing becomes a seed planted in another heart. And if you feel led, let generosity become part of your record too. Giving isn't loss, it's legacy. Think of it as adding oil to the lamp that keeps this message burning. Donations are not transactions, they are torch, passes. Your support becomes a continuation of the light that first found you. When you give, imagine your seed transforming into wings, carrying the word farther than you could ever walk alone. Heaven measures not the size of the gift, but the sincerity behind it. Beloved, chosen one, you are part of something divine in motion. The record being written about your obedience continues every time you act from love. Every time you sow into the spread of light, the angel of record looks at you one final time. The harvest is closer than you think. He says, then his light ascends, merging with the sky, until all that remains is stillness and the quiet awareness that heaven has documented your faith. You breathe deeply, peace wrapping around you, like dawn after a long night. Heaven has recorded it all, not for your glory, but for God's. And someday, when your story is told in eternity, the ink of your obedience will still shine. The voice of the second angel, beloved chosen one. After the angel of record ascends, light still lingers in the space where he stood. You can sense that something unfinished remains. A final word suspended between heaven and earth. The second angel, who has stood silent through the recording of your obedience, now steps forward. His radiance differs from the first, not golden or gentle, but sharp, like silver fire that cuts through illusion and shadow alike. He looks upon you, not with judgment, but with knowing. His eyes see the invisible corners of your soul, your doubts, your exhaustion, your half-formed questions that you never dared to speak aloud. The air between you hums with power, but it is not oppressive. It feels like truth preparing to reveal itself. When he finally speaks, his voice sounds like both wind and thunder, yet it does not hurt to hear it. It resonates more than it vibrates. It speaks not to your ears, but directly to your spirit. The season of silence is over. What was concealed will now be carried. What was hidden will now be heralded. And you feel the words ripple through you, rearranging something deep within. They are not suggestions, they are decrees. You understand that heaven's next movement requires more than stillness. It requires sound. You were silent in obedience, but now you must speak in authority. You shiver, not from cold, but from realization. You have never considered your voice a weapon of light. You've used it to pray, to plead, to praise, but now, heaven commands you to proclaim. The angel's tone sharpens. Do not let fear mute what faith has birthed. The enemy's strategy was never to steal your promise, it was to silence your voice. But heaven has reopened your mouth. Oh, as he speaks, you remember the times you stayed quiet to avoid conflict, the moments you hid your faith to keep peace with those who did not understand. You recall every instance you diluted truth to avoid offense. Each memory surfaces, not to shame you, but to free you. The angel's words burn through the residue of hesitation, like sunlight dissolving mist. Beloved, you realize something profound. The voice that carries heaven's message cannot remain timid. It must ring clear. Una shamid. Compassionate but firm. Heaven's truth is not a whisper, it is a river that must flow. And now, that river will flow through you. The angel raises his hand, and a scroll of light unfolds before you. It bears words not written in language, but in living energy. You cannot read them, yet you know them. They are heaven's declarations, waiting to pass through your lips into the world. He says, when you speak, do not fear the shaking. Some things must tremble before they transform. Your words will stir, convict, comfort, and confront, but they will not return void. You feel the gravity of this charge settle into your chest. It is not about eloquence, it's about obedience in speech. Heaven doesn't require you to sound perfect. It requires you to sound surrendered. As the angel steps closer, his radiance wraps around you like lightning that does not burn. His hand rests over your throat, and warmth floods your body. The sensation is overwhelming, like breath itself being remade. You gasp, realizing that something has been broken open within you. You can feel your voice changing, aligning with frequencies of heaven's authority. The angel's final words pierce through the quiet, Speak when heaven moves, and silence when heaven waits. Every word born of truth becomes a sword in the unseen. Every silence chosen in wisdom becomes a shield. Aume, as he speaks, your surroundings begin to shift again. The air vibrates with new resonance. The very ground seems to pulse in rhythm with your heartbeat. You sense the weight of heaven's confidence in you, not because you are flawless, but because you are faithful, as was written in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 9. Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth and said to me, I have put my words in your mouth. The verse feels alive inside you, almost physical. You realize that your voice has been consecrated not for argument, but for awakening. The authority to speak on heaven's behalf is not earned through study, but through surrender. The angel lowers his hand, and for a moment, all is still. Then he smiles a rare, radiant gesture that feels like sunlight breaking through eternity. Go, he whispers, and let heaven's tone live through you. Lun, he turns, his wings unfurling in a sweep of silver light, and in an instant, he is gone. The air cools again, but the echo of his words remains like fire beneath your ribs. You understand that the power within you is no longer dormant. It has voice, it has purpose, it has permission. The ripple of light, beloved chosen one. The moment the second angel vanished, the air did not fall silent, it expanded. It's as though the light he released through your voice began to travel, bouncing between realms, multiplying as it moved. You stand in awe, realizing that obedience doesn't end when the messenger departs. It echoes. Every choice, every word, every act of faith you've made now carries momentum. Heaven's light is rippling outward from you. You see it first as a soft shimmer, spreading like rings in still water. It moves beyond your reach, yet remains connected to your heart. Every pulse of light that leaves you finds a soul living in shadow, and the moment it touches them, they awaken. You can almost hear it a whisper, like the breaking of chains, a sigh, like the first breath after years of silence. This is how heaven multiplies. Light never stays still. It spreads. The truth entrusted to you has become a current, and you, beloved, are its vessel. The angels may have departed, but their mission continues through your obedience. You were never meant to hoard glory. You were meant to host it. Every action born of surrender ripples further than you imagine. A single act of forgiveness in your private pain becomes freedom in another person's heart. A prayer whispered for someone you barely know becomes strength in their darkest hour. A message you speak in obedience travels to places you've never set foot in. This is the divine chain reaction of faith. The ripple grows brighter. You can sense lives shifting even now, doors opening, hearts softening, storms stilling, all because heaven chose to work through your yes. What once felt small is now monumental. For obedience has never been about scale but sincerity. Heaven does not measure your reach by audience, but by authenticity. As the wave of light moves farther, you realize it carries something deeper than brightness. It carries remembrance. Every person it touches receives not just hope, but recognition. They feel seen, known, chosen. That is the power of true light. It doesn't just expose, it embraces. You stand in stillness, tears forming as you sense the impact. You understand now that this was never about you alone. the angel's descent, the whisper, the command. All of it was designed to awaken not just your destiny, but a collective awakening. You were the spark meant to ignite others. Heaven's mathematics are not like Earth's. One obedient heart can set thousands free. A single ripple can become a river, then a flood. What began as light in your chest now becomes illumination across continents. The spirit that hovered over chaos at creation now moves through your surrender, shaping new beginnings in places you will never see. As was proclaimed in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. That verse becomes your anchor. You understand that the darkness was never your enemy, it was your audience. Every shadow that once intimidated you now becomes your stage. The places where fear once ruled are the very arenas where your obedience shines brightest. Beloved, the ripple will continue as long as you live surrendered. You may not always see it, but heaven keeps count. Every person who feels hope again, every heart that remembers light, all of it is fruit from your faith. And when you feel weary, remember, ripples don't require effort once released. They flow by design. All heaven asks of you is to remain connected to the source. Keep your heart aligned, and the light will never cease to move. You can sense the Spirit whispering, "Stay luminous." Those words feel simple, yet sacred. Stay luminous when the world feels dim. Stay luminous when results seem delayed. Stay luminous when no one claps for your consistency. Because light that flows from obedience doesn't depend on applause, it depends on presence. The wave of radiance continues outward, crossing borders, crossing hearts, transforming K's into clarity. And somewhere far beyond your sight, a child sleeps peacefully for the first time in months. A burden lifts from a weary parent. A broken believer finds courage again, all because light moved through you. Beloved, if this message stirs something in your spirit, let heaven hear your agreement. Type 555 inches. The comments, a symbol of divine grace, transition, and completion. When you write it, do it with awareness that you're participating in the ripple. It's not just a number, it's a signature of alignment, a silent way of saying, "Let the light continue through me." End the trial of trust, beloved chosen one. The light that once rippled outward now softens, folding gently around you like the closing petals of a flower at dusk. The air cools, and for the first time in what feels like forever, there is no movement, no wind, no whisper, no sound from heaven. It is not absence, yet it feels unfamiliar after so much glory. The angels have gone, and the light that once danced upon your skin now rests quietly within you. This is the trial that every chosen soul must face, the test that follows revelation. You have seen heaven's power, heard its voice, felt its nearness. But now comes the question whispered into every heart marked by calling, will you trust when heaven grows silent? The silence is not punishment, it is process. It is the refining that takes a child of faith and matures them into a vessel of purpose. You are not being ignored, you are being entrusted with stillness. In this silence, heaven watches not for your words, but for your steadiness. Trust is the highest form of obedience. It is faith without evidence, surrender without explanation, peace without understanding. And now, That is what is being cultivated in you. You walk through days where the sky seems empty, where the very light that once enveloped you feels distant. Your prayers seem to echo unanswered, your discernment clouded by uncertainty. Yet even here, you know something sacred. Heaven never leaves, it only teaches differently. In this season, faith ceases to be feeling and becomes foundation. The same God who sent angels does not vanish when he stops speaking. He hides not to hurt you, but to stretch you, to see if you can trust his heart when his hand is hidden. The trial of trust asks you to remember rather than react. Remember the oil on your forehead, the words spoken over you, the covenant sealed in silence. The trial does not question your calling, it confirms it. Silence is the sound heaven makes when it's working beneath the surface. You recall the prophets and their waiting, Joseph in prison, Daniel in exile, David in caves. Each of them once stood in the light of divine promise, only to walk through darkness where no voice echoed back. Yet they trusted. They understood that silence is never the end. It is the soil where purpose grows, deep roots. You feel your own roots stretching now. The ground of your spirit shakes slightly, as if something unseen pushes downward and inward at once. You are learning to draw strength not from what surrounds you, but from what dwells within you. The absence of sound is becoming the presence of stillness, and stillness becomes revelation. As the Spirit reminds you through the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. The verse lands gently, like dew on a weary leaf. It doesn't demand effort, it invites surrender. Trust is not striving, it's resting in the unshakable truth that God remains faithful even when nothing feels certain. You close your eyes and breathe. The silence that once frightened you now feels like a sanctuary. The world may not understand it, but you are beginning to recognize this quiet as holy. It's the pause before the next unveiling, the hush between chapters where heaven rewrites the rhythm of your heart. The trial of trust is not about surviving, it's about staying still long enough to remember who you are. You are not abandoned. You are being anchored. Every unanswered question becomes a root of deeper dependence. Every unseen miracle, a sign of maturing faith. The darkness around you is not void, it is a veil. Behind it, heaven is rearranging paths, preparing people, weaving, timing. The silence is not delay, it's synchronization. And though it feels endless, one day you will look back and see how much grew in this stillness. You will see how trust turned your faith from flame to furnace steady, enduring, unstoppable. You may not have angels speaking now, but their promise still holds. They remain unseen, stationed near, guarding what has already been set in motion. Heaven does not undo what it has begun. In this sacred quiet, you begin to understand something new. Trust is not about knowing what comes next. It's about knowing who goes next to you. That knowing is enough. The stars above flicker, faint but faithful. You sense that heaven is near again. Not as thunder, but as breath. A whisper in your soul says simply, "Still, I am with you." And you believe it. The trial of trust is not meant to break you, it is meant to brand you with unwavering peace. When heaven speaks again, and it will, you will not tremble. You will be ready, steady, unshaken. The hidden reward, beloved, chosen one. After the silence of trust, Something subtle begins to shift again. It is not the thunder of revelation or the blaze of angelic light, but a gentle stirring like dawn, breaking quietly over the horizon. You don't see it at first, but you feel it. A new peace hums beneath your skin, the kind that doesn't depend on circumstance. This, you realize, is the reward. Heaven promised the kind that hides until your faith matures enough to recognize it. Heaven's rewards are never loud. They do not arrive wrapped in applause or recognition. They emerge quietly, like seeds that were buried long ago and have finally found the courage to bloom. You thought you had been forgotten, but now you see, heaven was simply waiting for the right season to reveal the fruit. At first, it appears as restoration opportunities, reappearing. Relationships, healing. Doors opening with ease. Yet you soon realize that the true reward isn't in the external shift. It's in the internal transformation. You've become different. Stronger. Steadier. Softer in the right places and unshakable in others. The storms that once made you tremble now make you worship. The silence that once frightened you now feels like home. You remember every test, the waiting, the warfare, the tears that fell with no audience but heaven, and you realize none of it was wasted. Each trial built a foundation. Each disappointment refined your discernment. Each heartbreak increased your capacity for compassion. Heaven never delayed you. It developed you. The hidden reward is not what you get, it's who you become. And yet, because God is generous, He gives both. As you walk in this newfound peace, provision begins to follow, not as luxury, but as confirmation. The resources, favor, and clarity that once seemed unreachable now flow naturally toward you. What was hard before becomes simple, not because the world changed, but because you did. You learned the rhythm of grace. You stopped striving and started aligning. There's something sacred about this stage of the journey. It's quiet but full. Heaven no longer needs to prove itself to you. You no longer need constant signs to believe. You've entered into a maturity of faith where the unseen feels more real than the visible, as was written in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 6. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father, who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. The verse settles deep within you, reminding you that the hidden places were never wasted. Every secret act of faith, every moment you obeyed without witnesses, every quiet yes you gave when no one applauded, heaven saw it all. The unseen Father rewards unseen faith. You look back and realize that what you thought was silence was actually selection. God wasn't withholding blessing, He was waiting until you were ready to hold it without breaking. The hidden reward had to come when your heart was steady enough to protect it, not worship it. The rewards of heaven rarely appear in the form of things. They appear in the form of awareness. You begin to see God in everything, in a stranger's kindness, in the pattern of light through the window, in the rhythm of your own breath. You no longer chase signs because you've become one. Your life itself has turned into evidence that heaven fulfills its word. The angels are quiet now, but their peace lingers. You can almost sense them smiling, watching, as you live what they once announced. They no longer need to stand before you because the presence they carried now dwells within you. You are the light they came to deliver. Beloved, you've entered the part of the journey where glory hides in ordinary moments. The divine now weaves through your daily steps, the laughter of loved ones, the quiet after prayer, the still joy that greets you every morning. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Heaven has blended into your life so seamlessly that you carry the supernatural within the natural. You understand now what the prophets meant when they spoke of peace that surpasses understanding. It's not the absence of conflict, it's the mastery of calm. You found that secret place where storms can rage, yet your spirit remains unmoved. That is the hidden reward, unshakable stillness amid chaos. You breathe deeply, and the air feels sweeter than before. Every inhale carries gratitude. Every exhale releases the remnants of old fears. You no longer chase miracles, you expect them. You no longer wait for confirmation, you live as confirmation. Beloved, chosen one. You have discovered the hidden treasure buried beneath obedience, not fleeting blessings, but lasting transformation. And as heaven watches, silent but proud, you walk forward, carrying peace that cannot be stolen, light that cannot be dimmed, and faith that no shadow can undo. The return of the messengers, beloved chosen one. The horizon shimmers again. After the long silence, after the unfolding of obedience, light begins to rise from the edges of the unseen. Two familiar figures emerge, the same angels who descended when your obedience first broke the heavens open. Their light looks different now, softer, steadier, as though their mission has ripened through time. They are not coming to begin something new, but to close what was once incomplete. They draw near quietly, wings folding like pages, closing after a long story has been told. You sense gratitude in their presence, a kind of celestial pride as though heaven itself honors your perseverance. You've walked through silence, through battle, through trust, through transformation. And now heaven sends its witnesses again, not to test you, but to strengthen what remains. The first angel smiles. His eyes gleam with that familiar warmth, the light that steadied you in your first yes. You have done well, he says, his voice both gentle and vast. You did not lose heart when heaven fell silent. You did not curse the darkness when the light seemed distant. You stayed. You stood. You believed, and now the promise breathes. You realize, beloved, that even the smallest gestures of grace, the word of encouragement, the moment of kindness, the act of giving were never minor. Heaven multiplies them beyond your comprehension. What you release in love travels farther than your reach, echoing through eternity, like song through open sky. And perhaps that is why heaven calls you now to become a keeper of the flame, to help this message continue burning. The angel's light shifts, forming the image of a lamp surrounded by many hands. You understand instantly. The message you've carried cannot remain with one person alone. It must be shared, nurtured, and sustained so that the flame spreads without fading. Beloved, every like, every share, every subscription, every act of support, it is not about numbers, it's about nurture. When you engage, you breathe oxygen into this divine flame. Think of it as tending the fire that once warmed you. Somewhere out there, someone sits in the same darkness you once knew, waiting for the warmth of the word that found you. When you help carry it forward, you become part of heaven's circulation system. You are the heartbeat that keeps the message alive. And if your heart feels stirred to give, to sow back into what sowed into, You know that your generosity is sacred ground. It's not a transaction, it's an exchange of light. Each gift becomes a seed that will return as testimony in lives you will never meet. Picture it, your offering as rain, falling softly on the soil of someone else's breakthrough. Heaven sees, multiplies, and remembers. Think of how rivers work. One drop does not flood the earth, but many create a current strong enough to carry ships. When you contribute, whether through sharing, through speaking, through giving, you add to that current. You make it possible for light to reach beyond algorithms, beyond language, beyond borders. You become part of the miracle's momentum. As the ancient words remind in the book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 38, "Give, and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over." The angel's light flickers once more, and you sense their time is short. The first raises his hand, tracing a symbol of light in the air, a circle that glows, then settles over your spirit like a seal. "Keep the circle unbroken," he says. "Let what began in you continue through others." The second angel's eyes soften as he adds, "Heaven's message is alive because hearts keep it alive. Speak it, share it, guard it, and where your words cannot reach, let your giving go." You nod, your soul full. You understand now that this message is not just yours, it belongs to everyone. Heaven intends to awaken through it. As their wings open for departure, you whisper a thank you that feels too small for the moment. They smile, and with one final surge of radiance, they lift upward, disappearing into the light that first brought them here. The room is still again, but something remains: the sense of purpose renewed, the certainty that your journey has not ended, but evolved. You are now the keeper of the flame. Beloved, if this message has reached the quiet corners of your heart, take a moment to reflect, to respond, to write your thoughts. Every word you leave behind becomes part of this tapestry of light, a written echo of heaven's voice moving through humanity. The angels have returned to their realm, but their message remains clear: keep the circle unbroken. The mantle of the chosen, beloved, chosen one. When the radiance of the departing angels fades, a new stillness fills the air, not the emptiness of loss, but the gravity of inheritance. The light they carried does not vanish, it gathers above you, swirling in slow, deliberate motion, condensing into form. You sense it before you see it, a soft pressure, a warmth that feels both familiar and vast. Heaven is not withdrawing, it is transferring. Something unseen lowers upon your shoulders, a weight, yet not heavy. It settles like silk, woven from sunlight, a garment of invisible glory. You know instantly, this is the mantle, the mark of the chosen, heaven's final gesture of trust. This mantle is not for decoration, it is for demonstration. It does not exist to make you seen, but to make the unseen visible through you. It carries the residue of heaven's touch, the authority of divine commission, and the fragrance of every prayer that brought you to this moment. It is the confirmation of all you have endured, the visible evidence of an invisible process. You stand still, trembling, as light pours into your being from above. It fills you, not with emotion, but with essence. You feel heaven's pulse within your chest, The same voice that once called worlds into existence now whispers through your spirit, "Carry me where I send you." The mantle does not change who you are. It reveals who you have always been beneath the layers of fear and doubt. It does not add power, it awakens it. Every step you take from this moment on will carry weight, not because of your strength, but because of the presence resting upon you. It is at once humbling and terrifying. You feel small beneath the vastness of what you've been entrusted with. Yet you also feel secure, like an instrument finely tuned to its composer. The path ahead is not easy, but it is illuminated. The mantle glows softly, shifting colors as if alive. It's woven from memory and mission, from every yes you've spoken in obedience. The threads themselves seem to hum with the music of heaven, tones you can feel but not hear. You understand that this covering will remain as long as humility anchors your heart. Humility is the clasp that holds the mantle in place. The moment pride tries to claim what heaven has freely given, the garment grows heavy, dull, almost unbearable. But when gratitude reigns, the fabric shines again, weightless and warm. The mantle is not ownership, it is stewardship. As the mantle settles, a verse arises in your spirit, alive and resounding, as though heaven itself is speaking through scripture. From the second book of Kings, chapter 2, verse 9, Elijah said, "Tell me what I can do before I am taken from you." End of quote. Those ancient words echo across time and fold themselves into your reality. You realize that what rests upon you is not merely the reward of obedience, it is the continuation of a lineage of light. Heaven never ends what it begins, it multiplies it. The mantle upon you carries double grace, double insight, double endurance, not for status, but for service. You see visions flicker across your mind, faces, cities, people, yet unseen. The mantle reaches for them as though alive, drawn to the places where light must still break through. It is calling you forward, gently but firmly. Heaven's trust always leads outward, and so you stand, aware that this garment is not just resting upon your shoulders, it's fusing with your spirit. You are clothed, not in fabric, but in fire. You are no longer a receiver of messages, you are now a carrier of them. The angels once walked beside you, but now their purpose walks within you. The air hums softly. You sense that heaven has completed its preparation. Everything that needed to be removed has been stripped away. Everything that needed to be added has now been imparted. You stand fully robed, not as a servant waiting for orders, but as an ambassador carrying heaven's authority into the earth. You lift your head and look around. The world seems different now, brighter, alive, responsive. The same creation that once watched you struggle now recognizes what you carry. Even the wind seems to bow slightly as it moves past you. You understand why. All of creation respects obedience. You take your first step forward in this new light. The ground seems to shimmer beneath your feet, as though heaven itself paves your path with unseen hands. The mantle glows in rhythm with your heartbeat, and you feel something stir in your spirit, a sense of divine companionship that will never leave you again. The world shifts because you obeyed, beloved chosen one. The air around you hums differently now. The mantle resting upon your shoulders has become one with your spirit, and creation itself seems to respond to its presence. You notice it first in small things, the way the air feels gentler, the way silence no longer feels empty, the way even shadows appear softer. The world is changing, though it doesn't yet understand why. It is shifting because heaven has released something through your obedience. You are not witnessing coincidence, you are witnessing consequence, divine cause and effect. When one chosen soul obeys, the atmosphere realigns, paths open, the storms quiet, hearts awaken. The ripple of your yes continues to move, not just through people, but through time itself. Heaven always measures obedience by its eternal impact. The angel's light has long returned to its realm, yet traces of their essence remain in the world around you. The places where they stood shimmer faintly in the spirit, a reminder that heaven once touched this ground through your surrender. Wherever you go now, that residue of light follows. Environments shift when you enter them. Words you speak carry weight far beyond your understanding. You are no longer simply living in the world is living in response to you. And yet, you remain grounded. The true mark of transformation is humility, the quiet strength of knowing power, but choosing peace. You no longer strive to be heard or seen, because heaven's echo speaks for you. You walk softly, but creation listens. You move silently, but mountains sense your steps. There is a strange beauty in realizing that your life has become a translation of heaven's will. You no longer need signs and wonders to believe. Now, you are the sign and wonder. Every act of kindness, every word spoken with love, every prayer whispered for others, all of it becomes proof that heaven is still at work through human hearts. As you move through familiar spaces, you notice how they seem altered. People who once avoided you now find comfort near you. Rooms that once carried tension now fill with calm when you enter. This is not because of charisma or charm, it is because heaven's peace travels with you. You carry the frequency of obedience, and darkness cannot dwell in its presence. The mantle over your shoulders glows softly whenever you choose grace over anger, truth over pride, forgiveness over fear. It feeds on humility, radiates through compassion, and strengthens with every act of faith. You are learning that true power is quiet, patient, enduring, the kind that shifts destinies without demanding recognition. As was written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." Everywhere you go, heaven leaves fingerprints. The stranger you greet receives unseen comfort. The friend you encourage feels divine reassurance without knowing why. Even the earth beneath your feet seems to heal from your steps. Obedience has turned your very existence into intercession. The world shifts not through miracles alone, but through consistency, through one soul who refuses to bend under fear or fatigue. You have become that soul. Heaven has anchored its presence in your endurance. Beloved, there will still be storms. There will still be nights when you wonder if the light flickers too faintly to last. But remember this, the world's changes don't rely on your strength. They rely on the source that fuels you. The same God who commanded light into darkness now commands light through you. You may never fully see the extent of your obedience's impact. The people transformed by your faith may never know your name. Yet heaven records it all. The unseen keeps count of unseen faithfulness. You will pass through places and not realize that revival began there. You will speak a word that seems simple and later learn it saved a life. You will offer love in passing, and heaven will build nations from it. This is how God multiplies the obedience of His chosen. And though you may not see the full harvest in your lifetime, eternity will show you the truth. Your yes changed everything. Now, as the light of dawn brushes the horizon, you sense completion, not an ending, but a continuation beyond your comprehension. Heaven's rhythm beats through your chest, steady and strong. The story has not closed. It has entered the hands of time, where others will feel its echo and rise to their own callings. You stand still for a moment, breathing in the sacred air. The world feels new, not because it changed, but because you did. The sky above you carries the memory of angelic light, and the ground beneath you hums with divine resonance. Chosen one, take a breath. What began as a whisper has become revelation, and you have walked faithfully through every stage of it. Heaven has spoken, angels have come and gone, and now the mantle rests upon you. You carry the fragrance of obedience, the glow of divine purpose, and the quiet authority of one who knows they are chosen. The story doesn't end here. It continues through your steps, through your voice, through every heart your light will reach. Let this not be just another message you've heard. Let it be a movement you live. If this journey touched your spirit, let heaven see your gratitude. Like this message, as a gesture of faith, share it so others may find their light. And subscribe to stay connected to future words that strengthen the soul. And when you leave your thoughts in the comments below, know that every word becomes part of this growing flame, a community of chosen ones walking in divine purpose together. The heavens have moved because you obeyed. Now keep the flame alive. Keep shining. Keep believing. And keep walking in the light that has found you.